welcome to episode 6 of the TVN2gether 7 things you need to know about pressure ulcer prevention. Now, I'll shortly hand you over to Karen and Alison, who are going to discuss the importance of nutrition in pressure ulcer prevention. Now, Karen Burkhill is the Tissue Viability Nurse Specialist Team Lead, and Alison McGinley is a Community Dietitian Team Lead, both from Dorset Healthcare. Over to you, ladies.
Thank you, Jenny, for our intro. This session is aimed at patients, carers and healthcare professionals and covers nutrition. It is important to have a multidisciplinary approach to the prevention of pressure ulcers and to promote wound healing. Working with other professionals, such as dietitians, can help. It is everyone's responsibility in pressure ulcer prevention. Once the pressure ulcer has developed, nutrition plays a vital role in the wound healing process. This is because the body needs proteins, vitamin and plenty of fluids to support the wound healing process. During this video, Ali and myself will explain the role of the muscle, signs of dehydration and malnutrition, what the body needs for wound healing, and demonstrate how you can fortify food and diet.
There are many reasons why someone may become malnourished. Some of these can include physical and mental disabilities, where someone may not be actually able to prepare the food. Chronic diseases such as arthritis, diabetes or COPD, where someone may have issues actually holding pots and pans, chopping food, and also if they have breathing issues, that can also have an impact on their ability to chew. Poor absorption of nutrients, where the gut isn't working properly, so the person doesn't absorb all the nutrition that they need from their diet. Depression. If someone's depressed, they may not feel up to actually cooking or eating the right types of foods. Isolation. Someone living on their own may be living on tea and biscuits because they're only cooking for one. Poverty. When someone has to decide whether to heat their house or to spend their money on buying enough food. Medication. There are certain types of medication that can impact on our ability to absorb certain nutrients in our diet. And also cognitive impairment, such as dementia, when someone may forget to eat, or they may feel that their food has been tampered with. Some other causes of malnutrition include dysphagia, where someone may need a textured modified diet. It can be quite tricky to get enough calories into a puree diet, for example. Poorly fitting dentures or a sore mouth. If your mouth is particularly sore, then it can be very uncomfortable to eat. Nausea or vomiting. If you don't feel particularly well, then you don't generally have a very good appetite, so you're unlikely to eat enough. And the same is also true of diarrhea. If you have to keep running to the toilet and you really have a sore tummy, then that can make eating enough very difficult. If you're nil by mouth, be that before or after surgery, then obviously you're not allowed to eat. And the longer that goes on, the more at risk you will be of malnutrition. And also the inability to actually get food, or if you have digestion issues. So obviously, if that food is even just out of reach, then someone is unable to actually eat it and therefore get the nutrition.
In order to know if someone is at risk of malnutrition, we need to undertake some form of screening. The most commonly used screening tool is the MUST tool, which is the Malnutrition Universal Screening Tool. By having certain measurements from your patient, including their height and weight, and previous weight loss, we can work out if they're at risk of malnutrition. Once we have measured someone's MUST score, then we can look at this to determine whether or not they're at risk. So if they score a 0, this means they're a low risk. If they score a 1, they're a medium risk, and 2 or above means that they're a high risk. Anyone falling into the medium or high risk categories should have some input in terms of looking at their nutritional intake and deciding whether or not we need to add extra into this to help with the wound healing process.
Dehydration can make the skin become thin and fragile, reducing skin turgor and increasing the risk of tissue breakdown. We should aim for 1.5 to 2 litres of fluid a day and more in hot weather, especially if patients are on hot wards or living in hot care home environments and are sweating more. We also need to remember that foods can be a good source of fluid. Signs of dehydration can include a dry and sticky mouth, tiredness, poor concentration, headache, feeling dizzy or lightheaded, or having concentrated urine. Reduced tissue turgor affects the elasticity of the skin. If you explain to the patient and gently pinch the skin on the back of their hand, the tissue should bounce back within 1 second. If this is delayed, this could be an indication of dehydration.
Obvious signs of malnutrition include unintentional weight loss, poorly fitting clothes, poorly fitting dentures, which affect someone's ability to eat properly, loose jewellery, wasted muscles, and sunken eyes or temples. There are also lots of less obvious signs, including the inability for wounds to heal properly, fine fragile hair, weak fragile nails, the blood may not be as healthy as it should, and also someone's ability to concentrate may not be as good. Having a healthy balanced diet is an important part of staying well and also is important for good wound healing. Using the Eat Well guide helps to guide us to show that someone is having all the right nutrients in their diet. You can see here that it is split into 5 separate food groups, and the size of the food group indicates the proportion of food that someone should include as part of their diet. So fruit and vegetables would be one of the largest groups, and patients should aim to have 5 portions a day at least. The second group would be the starchy carbohydrate foods, such as bread, potatoes, rice, pasta, breakfast cereals. These are a good source of energy and can also help in the wound healing process. Then we have our protein-rich foods, which includes both the meat and the dairy groups. The smallest group of all are the fatty foods, and although we do need some fat in our diet, we don't need these in a huge portion. Having a wound increases the overall need for energy, as does other medical issues such as broken bones, burns, having a fever, and so on. Energy also enables the protein that we consume to be used in the wound healing process, so making sure we have enough overall energy is really important. Energy is found in all the foods contained within the Eat Well guide, and it is important to make sure that we do have a variety of all the different foods from each food group. Protein is needed for the growth and repair of body tissue. This obviously would include the wound healing process. Protein requirements can be higher in those who have wounds. An average person would need 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram body weight. During the wound healing process, we require 1.25 to 1.5 grams per kilogram body weight. Good sources of protein in the diet include meat, fish, poultry, dairy foods, beans, eggs, pulses, and vegetable sources of protein such as soya mince, corn, and tofu. Iron is important to help maintain adequate haemoglobin in the blood. This helps to ensure that there is adequate oxygen reaching the wound to help with the wound healing process. Good sources of iron include red meat, fish, eggs, dark green vegetables, dried fruit, and nuts.
Vitamin C helps with the absorption of iron from your food and is also directly linked with healing process, and it is involved in collagen production. Vitamin C is found in a wide variety of fruit and vegetables. It's not stored in the body, so daily supply is needed. Vitamin C is destroyed during the cooking process, so it's important not to overcook your vegetables, or if possible, steam them. Drinking a small glass of fruit juice, about 150 ml with your meal, is a good way to improve your intake. If your vitamin C intake remains low, you may need to take a supplement. Good sources include citrus fruit, peppers, potatoes, tomatoes, and leafy vegetables. Vitamin A. This helps with the body's immune response and also helping to regulate inflammation within wounds. Good sources include orange veg and fruit, green leafy vegetables, full-fat dairy products and liver. Zinc is important for the formation of new skin tissue and help pressure ulcers to heal. Good sources are lean red meat, shellfish, milk, cheese, bread, lentils, beans and cereal products such as wheat germ. Fluid. 1.5 to 2 litres per day is approximately 6 to 10 mugs. This could include any liquid like tea, coffee, milk, water or juice, but not alcohol. If you are overweight or have diabetes, avoid drinks that contain sugar, choosing sugar-free alternatives or using low-calorie sweeteners in hot drinks.
We've mentioned that people with pressure ulcers or wounds require extra calories and protein. An easy way to achieve this is through the use of fortified milk, and we're now going to show you how to make this up. So Karen, if you could put 4 heaped tablespoons of the skimmed milk powder into the jug, and then if you add a small amount of the milk, and then if you whisk that into a nice smooth paste, and then once you've got rid of any lumps, if you add the rest of the pint, and give that another whisk, this fortified milk can then be used throughout the day in teas, coffees, for adding to breakfast cereals or for making up any milky puddings. 1 pint of this milk will contain about 550 calories, 37 grams of protein, and it's also an excellent source of calcium and vitamin D. So we've pulled together 2 sample menus, one that we would consider a sort of normal intake and one demonstrating how to increase protein and calories. The first one has about 1200 calories and about 75 grams of protein. The second one has almost 3000 calories and over 130 grams of protein. So we're going to talk you through some of the simple things that you can do to increase the nutritional intake that if someone has a pressure ulcer. So let's start with breakfast. So first of all, if we have any sort of milk in drinks or on cereals, then we can use the fortified milk. With the toast, if we spread plenty of butter or spread on there and then add jam, marmalade, honey, peanut butter, chocolate spread, depending on what the person actually likes. We could also possibly add some fruit to the cereal to increase the person's intake of fruit and veg and also their vitamins and minerals for the day.
For mid-morning and mid-afternoon snacks, you can use fortified milk in drinks or have a milkshake. Add in a snack such as biscuits, crackers, cheese, full-fat yoghurt, cake, nuts, depending on what the person likes.
With lunch, it's important to ensure a good portion size of protein such as meat, fish, eggs, or a vegetarian option such as tofu or soya mince. Add some butter to the vegetables to give them some extra calories, and if having something like mashed potato, then you could add in plenty of butter or spread, maybe add in some cream or cheese to increase the calories and protein. With the puddings, if it's milk based, make sure that the fortified milk is used, or add some cream, custard or ice cream, again to increase the protein and calories.
For evening meal, you could add some salad to the sandwich or have on the side, add mayo to the sandwich as well as spread or butter. Have a full fat yoghurt and possibly some dried fruit and nuts.
At supper time, have a milky drink made with fortified milk. This could include hot chocolate, Horlicks, Ovaltine or something similar. Add in a snack such as biscuits, cereal, cheese and crackers, again depending on the person's taste. Once you've implemented food fortification, if this still doesn't seem to be enough, what else could you do? There are over-the-counter supplements available, things such as Complan, Meriteen or Nourishment. These could be added between meals to add extra calories and protein. If this still doesn't seem to be helping, there are also oral nutritional supplements available on prescription. These come in various types, such as milky drinks, juice type drinks, ones containing extra protein, and some that are much smaller in size for those who cannot manage to drink very much. It's important to make sure that we continue to monitor the progress of these supplements and to stop them when appropriate. This would be if the wound has healed or if the person's BMI has returned to normal. So to summarise what we've discussed today, it's important to screen for malnutrition. Check someone's nutritional intake, including their fluid. Advise on their dietary intake, including food fortification. If they have a highly exuding wound, that will require extra protein. And if necessary, add in supplementary drinks and monitor their use. Overall, make sure that you're reviewing the progress of wound healing.
Anybody who has been assessed at risk of developing a pressure ulcer, as previously discussed by Carol and Sarah in episode 1, or has an existing pressure ulcer should have their nutrition assessed by a competent healthcare professional. This will enable the patient to have the best possible outcome. If patients are not nutritionally assessed, this could delay wound healing or increase the risk of a pressure ulcer developing. If your patient has a pressure ulcer and you're concerned about their nutrition to facilitate wound healing, then please contact your local dietitian. We hope that you've enjoyed this presentation, and here are some useful websites that you can log on to gain extra information. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison and Karen. That was a really visual way to remind us of the importance of nutrition and hydration in the prevention of pressure ulcers, so thank you. You discussed the must malnutrition screening tool, but we have to remind everyone that the tool in use in your clinical area might be slightly different, so please check your local guidelines. Now, the European guidelines for pressure ulcers tells us that we must refer any patient with a pressure ulcer to a dietitian. But hopefully, after this video, you will be able to optimize your patient's nutrition and hydration before the pressure ulcer happens in the first place. Now, this is the last of the 6 series of the TVN2gether 2020 virtual Stop the Pressure campaign. Please join us on Facebook Live via the Journal of Community Nursing Facebook page on the 19th of November at 7:30 p.m. Jump over to the Journal of Community Nursing Facebook page and click Going. See you on the 19th.